For decades now, the Toyota Hilux has been dominant in the dual cab ute class, but never before has it come under such intense pressure. And this is the latest car to throw down the gauntlet, a heavily updated Holden Colorado.
It's the same basic Colorado that we first saw in 2012, although Holden engineers have made some major tweaks over more than 100,000 kilometres of testing. It's all about fixing some of the bits that were underdone and making the Colorado a better competitor to class leaders such as the Hilux. It also looks different, particularly at the front. There's a new bumper, lights, bonnet and grille. And inside, it's taken a massive step in the right direction. But for Holden, much of the effort with this car was about making it drive better.
This is where the updates to the Colorado really shine through on regular roads and gravel roads where you're travelling a little bit quicker. Holden's made enormous headway in terms of refinement, so you can still hear the diesel chugging away, but it's certainly a lot more muted than it was previously, and these days feels actually quite good compared with everything else in the class. You've also got a heap of torque, 500 Newton meters, and it kicks in really low. So you're looking at plenty of hoof down low, and Holden's put a new torque converter in, which locks up nice and early. So basically, you can step on the power and get that full surge of torque going on.
Much of it comes down to the new torque converter, which not only improves refinement, but also drivability.
It is a surprisingly good drivetrain.
It also gets more mumbo than most rivals. There's 147 kilowatts of power, as well as a thoroughly generous 500 Newton meters. And that torque kicks in at 2,000 revs, so it's very accessible.
There's also been plenty of work done with the compliance of the suspension. Now, unladen as we are now, it still jitters around a tiny bit, but it's not out of control. It's actually surprisingly good. And decent grip from the new tyres too. We're looking at 18-inch Bridgestone Jewelers, and particularly on bitumen, they are really impressive. Colorado has also got value on its side, so slightly undercuts the Hilux, but you get a bit more gear. Leather seats, for example, digital radio, a tonneau cover.
Indeed, this top-shelf Z71 model comes with more gear than the Hilux, yet it's only about $800 more. So all up, with the auto, you're looking at about $57,000. Plus, it has the fancy stickers and body-coloured rollover bar, as well as those black wheels to jazz up the aesthetics.
It does miss out on the occasional thing, smart key entry for example, but overall pretty well specified. There's no doubt Holden's done a great job with the Colorado on-road, but let's see how it goes when things get a tiny bit trickier. Just like that, it starts to wheel spin a bit, and you can just see it's got to work a bit harder to try and maintain that traction. But it's pretty good. It is certainly a capable machine. One thing you're missing though is that rear diff lock, so if you start to get in a really tricky situation, you're just lacking that little bit of traction, and the traction control itself isn't quite smart enough to sort all the situations out.
One thing the Hilux has on its side is heritage. It's been around forever and has dominated the 4x4 ute segment for decades. A reputation for being unbreakable hasn't hurt either. But in recent years, the Hilux has shown that it's not unbeatable, and it's been chased down in the sales race.
One area the Hilux struggles is with on-road comfort. It is really stiffly sprung, so designed to obviously put up with a heck of a lot on the back and some pretty big bumps. It does all that nicely. But when you're driving it one up or even with two or three, it can get pretty bouncy. The Hilux isn't exactly overloaded with grunt. You're looking at 130 kilowatts, 450 Newton meters, so not heaps there. But when you put your foot down, it still responds pretty well. You can feel the torque converter working harder though. It's slipping a lot more than the Holden, so I guess other parts of the driveline other than the engine trying to help it get along. Seems to work though. You do pay for it with the Hilux though. It is a fair bit of dough, and even for the money, you still don't get leather seats as standard, another $2,000 for that. That said, there are things like smart key entry, and one area where Toyota's done a really nice job with the seats. These ones aren't leather, but they're certainly really comfortable. So good side support, and overall, I think on a longer trip, these are the ones I'd rather be sitting in. Inside, the overall presentation of the Hilux is, for my money, a fraction better, although there are some frustrations. Things like the touchscreen. Now, great size and everything, and it looks elegant, but having to press buttons to do the volume up and down is a little bit of a pain. But this is where the Hilux really starts to shine, is when it starts getting a little bit tougher. And you notice in places like this where traction is an issue, so you've got to feed on a bit of power, and its traction control is so intelligent, it just picks it up and works out where to send that drive. You've also got a locking rear diff, which is great for this sort of stuff. And some of the basics of the Hilux underneath just make more sense. It's got more solid underbody protection, and even things like the rear bumper, it's just better tucked under, so it's not ready to peel off if you come down and really test that departure angle.
So, Hilux or Colorado. Either way, you're getting a great truck. If it's off-roading you want to tackle, then the Hilux will ultimately take you further, or at least do it slightly easier. But as an all-rounder with great value, a great drivetrain and decent off-road ability, the Colorado takes out this duel. What a difference a major update can make.